Today, we are going to start a very important topic of Indian polity, and that is unitary features of Indian Constitution. Now, one by one, we will see the various features which gives India a unitary character. Now, the first one is single constitution. If we see the countries which have a federal character like US, like Switzerland or the Australia, we often find that these are the countries which have at least two constitutions. Two constitutions, I am saying because they have a central constitution. Like in USA, if we talk, they have basically a central constitution and the constitution of the federal states. But in India, if we see, we simply have a one constitution, and that is a central constitution through which entire country is run. Even if we see the aberrations in the form of Jammu and Kashmir, which has a separate constitution of its own, which is again based on the separate instrument of accession through which the Jammu and Kashmir was aligned with India. Now, even if we see the Jammu and Kashmir, certainly more than 95 articles today in the union list certainly applies upon the Jammu and Kashmir too. So here we can see that broadly India certainly only provides for one constitution, and that is the central constitution through which both the center and the states are run. Second is another very important point, single citizenship. Now, if we see again the countries which are known for their federal character like US, like Australia and Switzerland, as I have told you before, these are the countries which provides for the dual citizenship. Dual citizenship in the sense that they have both the citizenship of the country, that is the central citizenship, and the citizenship of the state to which they belong. But in India, we don't have the citizenship of the particular state. We simply have one and the only citizenship, and that is the citizenship of India. Certainly, India do provide the autonomy to the different states to the different extent, but again, when it comes to ensuring the citizenship, it is only one central Indian citizenship. Therefore, it is again a very important unitary feature which makes India a unitary country. Thirdly, if we see the distribution of seats in the Rajya Sabha or the Council of States, when we talk ideally about an ideal federal state, actually, for example, if suppose we say USA, there the entire states which constitute USA, they have got equal representation in the upper house. But when we talk about the India, it is not the scenario. In India, the number of the seats allocated to a particular state in the Rajya Sabha depends certainly upon its population indirectly, which determines its members of the Legislative Assembly, who finally chooses the member of the Rajya Sabha. Now, if we see, there is certainly a negative analysis or critical analysis associated with this point, that interests of the lesser states who are represented by very few members can certainly be overtaken by the interests of the states, by the interest of those states who are represented in large numbers, who are represented in the Council of States in the large numbers. For example, if we see the situation of Goa, it is a very small state and has a very minor representation, and if we compare it with the Uttar Pradesh, we can understand the anomaly of representation. So this is basically a character which is much more close to the unitary part than the federal part. Now, the next point is integrated judiciary. Now, how does integrated judiciary imparts a unitary character to a country? Now, for understanding that, we need to understand what does integrated judiciary means. See, if we see the countries like US, there again, the judiciary like state judiciary or the central judiciary central judiciary simply means the Supreme Court and the state judiciary means judiciary of the respective states. So, central judiciary there simply looks after the issues associated with the central laws and the central constitution or the national constitution. But if we talk about the state judiciary there, so state judiciary in the United States simply deals with the state laws as well as the constitution of the state. But in India, this is not the scenario. In India, both the Supreme Court as well as the High Court deals with both the center as well as the state laws. As well as both the Supreme Court as well as the High Court looks after the cases associated with the one and the single constitution India has. So in this way, we can observe that the Supreme Court and the High Court tends to promote and protect only central law as well as the state law and the single constitution which India has. Now, if we see the next point which makes India a unitary state is, here the states are not indestructible. The states are not indestructible. Now, what does this mean when we say the states are not indestructible? It simply means the provision under Article 3 of the Indian Constitution say that certainly union can change the territory, the name, the boundaries of the state, the territory, the area, the name, the boundaries of the state, and that too without requirement of a resolution being passed by the state. There is only a very limited concept of the consent to be taken by the state but again this consent does not need to be binding and hence the center can go ahead if the center can certainly go ahead and change the state boundaries, its territory, its name, its area according to the Article 3 of the Constitution without needing any other sanctions from the state. Hence, it certainly imparts greater power of the union to change the state in the way it like. Next provision in the unitary feature of Indian Constitution is the All India Services. Now, if we see the All India Services, the very nature of All India Services certainly makes it a part of the unitary feature, where the members of the All India Services, though appointed by the center, they work for the different states, and even states can take disciplinary actions, states can initiate their transfers, as and when needed. So, it does provide a unitary character to the India as a uniformity of the public service can be ensured through this All India services. Next feature is certainly the union control of the state, union control over the state in the normal times. If we see the articles starting from Article 249 to Article 253 of the Indian Constitution, we can certainly understand this very character. Let's suppose, for example, if we talk about the Article 49 of the Indian Constitution. When we see the Article 249, it clearly states that if the Council of State or the Rajya Sabha continuing from there, we can see that if Rajya Sabha basically passes a resolution with a special majority, that a subject which is mentioned in the state list, and it gives the authority to the centre to legislate upon it, for larger public interest, then certainly centre acquires the power to legislate over a subject which is mentioned in the state list. Next point is union control in emergency. So at the time of emergency, there are certainly extraordinary powers in the hands of the centre. What do we mean by this? It simply means that union gets the power over the administrative, over the legislative, and over the executive aspects over the state list subjects in times of proclamation of emergency. And this certainly reflects the larger unitary character of Indian Constitution. Then, we can even see that there is a strong central bias in the various lists of Indian Constitution in which the subjects of legislation is divided, be it the central list or the state list or the concurrent list. Now, if we see the central list, we can clearly observe that the subjects which are of wider importance is certainly occupied by the central list. And again, there is a problem with the concurrent list. Now, if we see the concurrent list, the majority of the areas of the concurrent list is preoccupied. It is preoccupied by the central legislations. And since there is a provision that state cannot make laws over the subjects which are already occupied by the centre in such a manner that it tends to override those provisions. Hence, the concurrent list certainly provides for unitary bias too. Another very central aspect which we need to discuss is the position of the governor. Over the years, while reviewing the functioning of the governor in the constitutional democracy of India, we can see that governor more or less have acted in the partition manner, and they have acted as a nominee of the centre. But the only task they have intended to promote in most of the cases is they tend to protect the government of the centre in the state, or they try to create the government of the centre in the state by hurrying the fall of the alternative government. So, this is again a provision which gives a unitary character to the Indian Constitution. And if we go to another extent of analysis in this issue, the core point is that the governor works on the pleasure of the president. Pleasure of president. Now, since the governor operates on the pleasure of the president, he does not act in an independent manner. And the last feature is certainly the flexible nature of the Indian Constitution. Now, if we say the flexible nature of Indian Constitution, it simply means that the nature of amendments which can be brought to change this character, be it unitary or federal, is certainly easy. And it is very clearly manifested when we see the Article 3 of the Indian Constitution, where states can be destructed as the centre wants through only the simple majority. Thus, through the amendments in the Constitution, certainly we can change the nature of the Indian Constitution and made it much more unitary or much more federal. So here, basically analyzing these points, we can understand that what K.C. Weary said about the Indian Constitution, that it is basically a quasi-federal constitution. Hence, after analyzing these features, we understand that what K.C. Weary said about the Indian Constitution, that it is quasi-federal in nature. Now, what does this word quasi-federal in nature meant? He meant to say that it is basically a unitary nature constitution with subsidiary federal features. And it is not like other federal constitutions like be it of USA or Australia, or for that matter, it can be Switzerland too. Hence, I hope this might have cleared your concept regarding the unitary features of Indian Constitution. Thank you and have a good day.